Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the council. It's your girl, Cosette.
Lexi.
And Rachel.
And today we're talking about something that may seem like we've already talked about it, but we haven't yet.
At least not enough.
Not enough. And
It's a big one.
We've talked about red flags, we've talked about icks, but we've never done a full episode on deal breakers, like full things that will end that relationship. So we're going to discuss our deal breakers, some maybe potential deal breakers that you should have in line for yourself when you are vetting partners, and we're just going to get into that.
Oh my gosh. Who wants to go first?
I know. I mean, there's
I'm on the edge of my
you
seat.
go.
well, let's first talk about the difference between red flags and deal breakers. So red flags we've talked about are something that maybe just make you raise an eyebrow and you keep that in the back of your head. And if too many appear, it may be an indication that there's something
I feel
not
like
great
red
there.
flags also, it's not your job or responsibility, but can be changed or grow upon. So if they are disrespectful to waiters, maybe that is a deal breaker, but also it's something that if you feel like you like this person enough, you can address with them and they recognize it and they go. Like, there's a red flag to you. Is it something you're willing to work on or is it not? Or something that's a deal breaker, which you're not even willing to like kind of work through a process. I feel like that's kind of a difference to me.
Yeah.
It's like
Or-
something,
Or like a red flag, I'd say, if you go over to someone's house and it's kind of messy and like not really cleaned up, that's something that could be learned, you know?
Yes.
Mhm.
Is that a deal breaker? No.
Not
Is
your
that a
job
red
or
flag?
responsibility, but it's
Uh,
something that I feel
It
like
could be worked on.
yeah. That's I feel like that's the difference.
Oh my god, this goddamn mic. I'm
Oh
sorry.
my
I can't
gosh.
even
Why does it bother you right
because
here?
it's covering my computer.
Oh.
So I'm trying to like keep it down, but I want to make it like I don't want to make it
I
too
can't
far
wait to
away.
listen to the audio and it's like
Yeah.
Okay.
Ooh.
I'll just try to
It-
slouch down a little bit, but I also don't want it to cover my shirt. Like, this would be perfect right here. Oh, we may have found the spot.
As long as you just don't breathe on
Don't-
it.
Oh, I thought you bumped it.
Okay.
You almost did.
Yeah. Would you agree with that point, Rachel?
I think
I was a little distracted with my mic.
we agreed with each other. Do you agree with us?
I do agree.
Okay.
People ask in conversations with their girlfriends, like, "Oh, he is rude to his mom. Is that a deal breaker for you, or is it just a red flag?" We think of red flags as like the darkest shade of flag that you can get in a relationship. There's green flags. There's those pink, orange flags that we've discussed. There's the
beige
red flags.
There's
beige
there's
flags.
every-
But that deal breaker is just a no-go. Like, there's no coming back from that. And
construction zone that is a drop off.
What about a white flag where you're like done? You're like, I give up.
I give up, mercy.
I give up. Yeah, mercy.
oh, is that what white flag means? I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah,
Well,
that's-
It's like, yeah,
They're
you're
like
done.
in war. It's a white flag.
Yeah.
They've
Okay.
given up. They,
Flag.
they,
I guess that's kind of like a deal breaker.
maybe that is. It's
So
like,
I have some fun little stats along the way for this
Ooh,
episode.
okay.
So fun. And I know Lexi's all about facts
I know,
and
She is.
statistics.
I was like,
In fact, when we first started the council, that was like her job was like to
I
pull up these
know.
articles along
That's
the way.
right.
which
So-
I know.
I'm gonna fulfill that need right now. So a little fact to jump us off as we talk about some deal breakers that we have. A survey found that 65% of people consider bad hygiene as their top deal breaker,
Top deal breaker.
followed by financial instability and differing values. Differing values is very
That's-
broad, but as their top deal breaker, bad hygiene.
Wow.
I mean, I feel like that is something that could possibly be changed, but if you've tried and it doesn't change, that would be a deal breaker
I
for
get
me.
that, but when we thought about deal breakers before this episode and what we're going to discuss, that one did not cross my
neither.
They're
mind.
not.
So it's interesting when you hear it, you're like, yeah, I get that, but it was not on like, oh, if this happened, deal breaker.
But
Like if that,
hygiene is actually very important.
it is
like,
very important.
You don't want
I-
to be dating someone that doesn't brush their teeth every
Yes.
night. It's like, ew, wait, what? I'm
But it's
kissing that
also a
mouth?
lot of times people don't realize they have bad hygiene. So I feel like if you were to tell them, it could change. But if you're on a first date and they have really bad hygiene, then that could be a deal breaker for not going on a
Yeah.
second date.
Yeah,
I
noticing,
get
like
that.
right away.
Like, oh, he was really cute. We had great conversation, but he smelled like BO. And then you ask me, well, is it a deal breaker? Yeah, that's going to be a no for me. You know,
Yeah.
that's, I
'cause
feel
then
like,
how many dates would you have to go on before you felt comfortable to say, hey,
to say, hey, like,
the last.
I got you a new toothbrush.
oh no,
This reminds me of a Sex in the City episode where Charlotte notices that her boyfriend at the time is like readjusting himself constantly in public.
Oh.
And so she gets some different boxers
Oh
as
my
like
God.
that, and he takes it as a sign like, you're already shopping for me. Oh my gosh, this is moving so fast. And she's like, no, I just felt like maybe you have an issue down there. Like maybe it's too restrictive. And he's like, this is like, again, they might take offense to it. So if you're like, I got you mouthwash, or oh, I got you this new bar of soap, or ooh, this new like cologne, they might be like I don't know if there's an easy.
So
yeah,
funny because I have like a favorite toothpaste that I absolutely love, and one day I went over to my boyfriend's. I'm like, here, I got you toothpaste. And he took it as like, he's like, excuse me? I'm like, no, this is my favorite toothpaste. Like, you use it and trust me.
Exactly.
What kind of toothpaste is it? Because I feel like Mr. Tennis was really excited about a toothpaste, and he asked if he could get me one because he was excited about it.
Oh my gosh. It's Crest, like, Pro Health Diamond Shine.
Okay, that's not the one.
It's like Crest Brilliance.
I
it's
love
so
that
good.
one.
Actually, you love that one?
Actually, I thought Mr. Wright liked this other toothpaste. So this was like a few weeks ago. I got 2 toothpastes, one that I thought he liked and the one I like.
Yeah.
And then he always brushes his teeth in the shower. So he asked for his toothbrush and the toothpaste, and I give him the one that I thought he liked. He's like, no, the other one. I was like, but you like this one. He's like, no, I like the other one. I'm like, I like that one. So now I have 2 of these.
Wait, which one is your favorite?
Well, I like the one you're talking about, but I thought he liked this hydrogen peroxide Crest one. And I mean, it's not bad. It's a good toothpaste, but I was like, dang it. So now I'm using, as a sacrifice, I'm using the toothpaste.
You sacrifice so much for this relationship.
I know, even the toothpaste.
You should just do 50-50.
So he's on a trip, and he took the good toothpaste, and I'm like, but that's so funny. The
My
toothpaste
mouth feels
is
so clean.
I love it.
Okay,
anyways,
we're gonna steer. I'm gonna reroute our conversation off the toothpaste track. But yeah, personal hygiene is definitely a big one.
I get that, and like, so is that in the survey? Is that in rank? Like, values is number 3?
Yes, yeah, that they rate
Wow.
their top deal breaker as bad hygiene, followed by financial instability and differing values.
I guess like, when in the relationship does it become a deal breaker? Are we talking about like relatively new, or are they in it and they still experience financial instability, or they're realizing the values are becoming too different? Because I'm wondering,
well, I
when
hope
does
you'd
this
be able to notice that, in the beginning before.
Well, I know,
going
but
to
how
bed
long
and
do they like,
committing.
when you first date someone, you're like, oh, they don't have a job right now, but I'll go on dates with them. Like,
I'm
when does it
interpreting
become...
this as like dating someone new. Like, these are just my go-to deal breakers.
Okay.
Yeah. So let's maybe dive a little bit into our personal deal breakers. I know you both had some stewing up, and I gotta think a little bit more on it. So who wants to start?
Oh, me.
Yeah,
for
go
sure.
for it.
100% deal breaker is anger. Literally, my past 3 exes, the universe has like doomed me. Like, oh my gosh. So
Thou
much-
shall not repeat.
Thou shalt not repeat.
You're like...
Yes, thou shalt not repeat.
And are
I'm
you
so
learning your
done.
lesson? It's like you keep going. Well, not this one.
I
but like,
have, yes.
over and over. It's like,
No,
okay.
This is a good one.
Yeah, my partner that I'm with now, like, we do not have anger, and I'm so happy. That's like the one thing that was like so
again,
important.
you have
to me.
frustration, you have annoyance, you have hurt, but like, anger is represented and demonstrated in so many different ways.
Just, like, angry at the world.
Yeah,
and just being mad
and he
at
really
everything
processes
and
emotions, I
everyone.
feel like, very calmly and respectfully.
Yes,
Yeah.
100%. And that's such a relief. It's like, okay, like I started a day and it's always on a positive note, not so much intensity.
Yeah.
Literally as soon as I open my eyes. And
I know.
Yeah.
I remember your...
Yeah.
That's a good one.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
So let's alternate. I'm sure you have more. So save.
do.
Yeah, save those in the back of your head. Lexi, do you? I just thought of one also. So
yeah, I
I'm
feel
ready.
a deal breaker for me that I guess my mom has always drilled into me is, if they're not into you, don't force it. Like, and it sounds so cavalier, and how is that a deal breaker? But if someone's trying to break up with you, or they're not into you, don't try to convince them why they should be with you. It's just like,
The one will be with you. And
yeah,
wants
so
to be with
it's
you.
like, why do you want to have to convince the person they should be with you? They should already recognize that. They should see that. And you're going to find someone that you don't have to convince, that they're ready to be like, yeah, I think you're the greatest person. And I've taken that really to heart. My mom is always like, he's just not that into you. It's a good movie, and it's a good phrase for a reason, because he's just not into you. There's going to be another one that is. And it is such a true statement, and it's a deal breaker. If someone isn't showing you the interest or the care, you're kind of like, I can find it. Don't waste my time. I can find it. I'll be okay. I know I have a lot to offer. If you're not willing to like see that, then I'm not going to convince you that you should.
And you know what? Don't think that because I've been with this person for so long that
that's a great point.
That's okay. You know, like, you know what you deserve. It's never too late. It's never too late. Like, if you're not feeling fulfilled, it's never too late to, you know, reevaluate and move forward and move on.
Life
is scary. But it needs to happen, you know.
It's better to go through that and have wasted 3 years of your life and not the rest of your life.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, there's always another milestone that you should be fortunate you didn't reach. And, you know, I know we've all been through relationships where, like, at least we didn't get married. At least we didn't have kids. At least, like, you know, we don't have mortgage. Like, there's other factors, and you're like, if you are married, if you do have kids, at least it's not your whole life. At least you have these years. At least, like, you, like, why do you want to, if you've already come so far in your head, you're like, I come so far, I put so much time in, you're thinking about, you're like, I'm willing to experience the same kind of emotion for the rest of my life?
We only have one life. We only have one time on earth. And I think even if you are in your old age and you want to go through a divorce, like, it's better to do it and at least spare those last few years and have some happiness.
And I think about Rachel, where, you know,
by divorce,
you're divorced. You're divorced, and she didn't go through a divorce. She went through a breakup. But, you know, and I think about other people that we know where it doesn't feel good in the moment, but you're going to look back in a year and think, thank goodness I did it now or then, because look how far I've come after a year. And
I'm so different than how I was like 2 years ago.
And like, if you think about it, if you push it off another year, you're going to be in a worse position. And a year from there, you're going to think, I should have done it then. Yeah. I should have done it then. Now it's another year.
You're just
you're going to feel better. You are going to feel better if you take that leap. And it is scary. Like, trust me, I'm preaching, but sometimes I don't practice this. And sometimes it's hard to, you know, not ignore. But it's a good reminder, like, if they're not showing you, if they're trying to break up with you, if they don't want to be with you, let them not be with you. Because there's going to be better energy out there that's going to serve you. So
that reminds,
it's a deal breaker.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, just in regards to that and everything, you know, my parents are divorced, and, you know, in the forefront, it's sad. I don't want anyone to get divorced, but at the end of the day, like, now they both have partners that they are so happy with, and that's all all that I could ask for. I just want them to be happy, and they are.
And it just, I guess, a little, not quite a divergent, but you think about your parents, and they're also trying to experience life for the first time. They're trying to get it right. They're trying to find love. They're trying to be happy, and it's hard on children. And you know, when you get older, I think you just have this different level of understanding and appreciation for, you know, they're also just trying to figure out what's best in life, and kind of like seeing them have a beautiful family, have you, and then realize it just wasn't fulfilling them in the way they wanted it, and then find partners that did. It's like, I'm happy for them to have found that, because not everyone does, and you got to put yourself out there for love and relationships, and that's not easy at all. And especially when you go through it. I mean, a divorce sounds horrible and hard.
Especially with as many kids as they had.
Yeah. 6. There's 6 of us. It's pretty crazy.
So,
but it's really, I think it's really beautiful how you are able to look at that and be like, I'm so happy that they were able to find people who are better suited for them. Not a lot of kids, I think, can feel that way towards their parents when their parents go through a divorce.
Yeah. I feel
that's
like,
why sometimes hindsight and
yeah.
But what were you gonna say?
I just feel like, you know, sometimes kids are, you know, kids. Sometimes kids might blame it on themselves, but it's not you. It's your parents and their emotions, and you just have to go with it and process it with them and know that, you know, their happiness is number one.
Yeah.
You want them to be happy. You don't want them to be miserable and hate each other.
And that's what this episode's about, is like, deal breakers are meant to make sure that you find your happiest self and like person that's going to bring that out of you, because it's a deal breaker for a reason. That's why they shouldn't be something you waver on.
Exactly.
So, Cosette, what is your what's one of your deal breakers?
Well, I wanted to say quickly to your deal breaker. It reminded me of a song that I had wrote down because I was like, I want to
love
mention this.
this.
I always have a song
I
reference for
know,
everything.
Do.
But you saying if they are not super into you, I feel like I went through a situation with someone who I thought we were really into each other, and they were putting in such little effort that I had to take a step back and realize it's not anything that I did. It's not anything that they did. I just don't think that they like me that much. And there's a song called "You Just Didn't Like Me That Much" by Leanne Firestone.
Okay, I have
And
to listen
it
to
is
this.
such a good song. I was preaching this song when I was finally letting myself mentally move on past someone who wasn't serving me. And one of the lyrics is you weren't the wrong person. You weren't the right person at the wrong time. You just didn't like me that much. And it's also
do we know who you're referring to?
you could probably put it together.
I feel like I was.
But another was they say that the opposite of love is hate, but it's actually indifference, which is so
hate and love are
true.
actually the closest feelings.
Yeah,
to each
because
other.
they're both so strong. Meanwhile,
indifference is so true, and I've said it before.
Yeah.
When
We're gonna have to listen to this, Bob.
yeah, I want to listen to this. I want to listen to this song.
I
but,
know it's a good one.
You know, it's such a great point. I would say that to my ex whenever he was talking about all the things he didn't like about me. I would say, "It sounds like you just don't like me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why are we together?" And
Yeah.
bad.
Your
bad
ex
relationship.
complained a lot.
Yeah, like little things. Like I
Yeah.
didn't style my hair in a braid, and I'm like, is that an indication of how? Is that hygiene? I don't know. Everything. Like,
Yeah.
anyways, but it sounded like you just don't like me enough, and that's okay. Like, we don't have to be together. I know he
Mhm.
used it as a manipulation tactic of like, you're stubborn and prideful, and you just think you know best. But you know, it's okay. Like you said, it's okay that we just don't like each other. You just don't like me. It doesn't mean you're a bad person.
Yeah.
It just means it's
We're
We're
not
not,
kinda let
we're
go
not a
of that
match.
energy. Yeah.
Yeah, and you just gotta be able to move past that.
yeah.
One of my deal breakers, I just had a conversation with a very good friend of mine the other day, who wants to be a guest on this podcast.
I feel like
uh,
her.
I feel like I can
Yeah.
at least name drop her nickname, and it's TT. I call her TT.
I knew it.
And
Yes.
we were talking about how she had set up this date with this guy. They have never met in person yet. They only follow each other on Instagram, and I'm hearing some spookiness behind me. They had never met in person, but they followed each other on Instagram, and we were sharing the frustration of when a guy over sexualizes you before even meeting you, and they hadn't gone there on the first date, and yet he was responding back to all of her stories like, damn, so sexy, oh my god, that booty though, like things like this. And I feel like I've also been in that situation where a guy is hypersexualizing me when he doesn't even know me. We've talked about this.
We've
If you're my
talked about it.
boyfriend,
I
hypersexualize
want
me,
it.
it's okay.
Give it to me. If
But
you don't,
but
please
But
don't.
if you haven't even met me,
Yeah.
yeah, and so I would say that's a big deal breaker for me. Is it makes it very clear the type of connection you're looking for right off the bat, and
I
so
think that's a good one.
that would be a
That's
big deal breaker.
Yeah.
no, that
I-
completely makes sense.
That makes sense, and I hope we've stressed this enough, like how uncomfortable and how weird we find it. At least us three and people we've talked to. Maybe that's not the case for everyone, but I think the safest route is just not assume that they're into that, and maybe
Yeah, right? Just
let's
be a
like
decent human.
assume that they're not.
Anyways, she
and then
canceled the
test
date,
it.
and she never went on a date with him
Oh,
because
he
it
canceled?
was no, she did.
Oh,
because
she did.
It
I
was a
was like,
deal
yeah.
breaker for her, and I
Okay.
respect
Yeah.
that so
That's
much.
that's wonderful that she
Yeah.
didn't have to like fight through that uncomfortableness just to see, because
Yeah, she was
No,
like, you don't
there's no
even know
reason-
me. Why
Yeah.
are you? Absolutely
Yeah.
not. And she probably saved a lot of time. And she actually sent this like message being like, I'm not about that. It feels like we're on the different page. The day, like the morning of what their date was supposed to be. And this dirtbag never even responded. He left her on red.
well,
and
you know
that
his intentions from
Trash
that then.
took itself out. Like she
Yeah.
saved herself so much time.
Oh my gosh.
that's
Do you guys have other deal breakers that sit top of mind?
I
Yes.
do. I do.
So yeah, I
go
want to
back
hear.
through Rachel.
Yeah, let's hear
Bring it
your
back,
deal
bring it
breakers, and
back.
then I'll mention some common deal breakers that people have mentioned in studies.
Okay.
Okay. I vote. Yeah.
Okay, so
Let's hear it.
a big deal breaker is how your partner treats his parents,
True.
specifically the mother, because like one day your partner, you guys are going to be mother and father, and it's like, okay, this is family, and if he disrespects her, then what will this say about our future?
Yeah.
So definitely just like, you know, I'm very lucky. My partner is like so nice to both of his parents and so loving, and it's just like
That tells you so much.
it tells you so much.
Your hair looks so good, by the way.
Thank
I forgot to
you.
tell you, but it looks so
What?
good.
It does.
you.
It does.
Wow,
Sorry.
you guys are so nice.
I was like,
Hype
I
me
don't want to
up.
interrupt the podcast, but then I
also-
was like, I just said never keep a kind thought to yourself, so I'm
Well,
just gonna say it.
I know, but I was looking at both your hairs. Both I was gonna say both your guys' hairs, and I was like, they're not guys. Both your ladies. I was going through it right
Yeah,
there. Okay,
it's
both
okay.
of your hairs, and I love like Cosette. Yours looks so full and
Oh, thank
voluminous right
you.
now. Like I've been watching that, and then yours is just so glossy.
It's
and,
so
and, like,
glossy and
yeah.
toned and
Thank
you.
icy. Like I love
You
I
just
it.
got
know.
your hair done too.
I did.
We all.
I
Well,
just-
no,
I
I have
just-
not. I need to get my hair
I just
done.
toned mine up too.
You did get yours
so.
done at home.
Well, she did it at home.
We
Little
don't talk
experiment.
about that.
A little.
That was-
Okay, I didn't think it was bad at all.
I dyed my hair
But
fire red.
I did like.
I don't think it was. I thought
I-
it was.
Yeah, I thought it was
hot.
really hot.
Hot.
But
Thank you.
I did like the strawberry
strawberry
blonde.
blonde.
A little,
I liked the strawberry blonde,
Yeah.
but I think it reminded me that I want to go back to my roots, like
Okay.
just a little bit more dirty blonde.
Mm.
I
Are
thought
you
killed,
are you planning
killed the
to do that
oranges.
soon?
Yeah, I am.
Okay.
Hopefully in about a month. So we'll see.
I love a good hair day. I
Oh.
love a
Yeah.
hair transition. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so we're back on topic after
Yes.
a little.
Yes.
So
hair.
little sidebar. So now, yeah,
Oh,
how to
me?
treat the parents.
So I had recently watched a show called Three Women. It was a really wonderful show. And one of the women that it focuses on is her relationship, her marriage. And she goes to the doctor and she's gone to several either therapists with her husband, without her husband, and they're discussing how he won't kiss her.
Oh,
And-
no.
And how it affected her. And it was her story and how she craved that kind of physical connection. And I just thought, if it kind of just goes along with it, like my partner doesn't want to kiss me, I couldn't just feel like, oh, but I don't know. Oh my, so I
Well,
was like,
that doesn't
that's a
ha-
deal breaker.
Yeah, that doesn't help because one of your love languages
It's
is
physical touch. I'm
Me
constantly
too.
I'm
I'm-
constantly being like, are we making out tonight? Like I'm like, I want to make out every night. I want to kiss.
Yeah.
I want you to touch me and
Oh
hug
my
me.
gosh.
So
yeah, that
no,
also
that
goes
would-
along with just like little physical touches
Right,
throughout
like,
the day,
a
getting
kiss
that validation.
isn't even that.
But if you are unwilling to kiss your partner, then what? Are they your roommate or your
That's what-
friends?
Yeah,
Like,
right?
So I know that so when we were just talking about this topic and what we're gonna discuss, that one came to mind too. If a partner didn't want to kiss me, that would be a deal breaker. And
mhm.
100%.
it would hurt me so much if they didn't want to kiss me. And her pain in the story was so real because to him it was so what about it, nonchalant, like, so I don't crave that kind of attraction or want.
Attraction anymore.
Yeah. Like we had our kids, we're good, like our marriage is good, we're stable, we're financially stable, why isn't that good enough? And she's like, I want you to kiss me, like I want
Yeah.
and I just thought, yes, I'm on your side, woman, I'm
Oh,
on your
poor
side.
thing.
So
Yeah.
That's a deal breaker for me.
that's a
too.
deal breaker.
Like,
If you don't want to kiss me, like,
yeah, no.
That would
Physical
be-
touch
Is it
one of
hygiene?
My priority.
is it hygiene?
That would be a deal breaker
Yeah,
for me,
right?
for
Tell
sure.
me then.
Yeah.
I will brush my teeth, like, kiss me. But
Oh my gosh.
I know, actually, my ex would say that. He's like, you smell like coffee. I can't kiss you. And I was
Oh
like,
my gosh.
I was like, I'll brush my teeth. I still smell
You have like
coffee.
the whitest smile ever.
Thank you. I
Screw your
try to.
ex.
I know. I was like, I know coffee, and that was one of the things I brought up to my current boyfriend. Is like, does my breath smell like coffee? Because I know I drink a lot of coffee. He's like, yeah, but I don't care. I'm like,
I have a similar situation
you.
where
Yeah.
I was with one of my exes, like hated coffee, could not stand the taste of coffee, and so if we would kiss, he'd be like, "Can you brush your teeth after coffee? Like you taste like coffee." And I'd always be like, "Oh my god, I'm so sorry," and I'd run and brush my teeth. And then with a future partner, I remember I had just drinking coffee and we kissed, and I was like, "I'm so sorry, I probably taste like coffee." And they're like, "I love coffee.
like,
I love the taste of
I
coffee."
know. I never even thought about that. Yeah, it's
And some
cool.
people
It-
just you start
Yeah.
to program yourself like, "Oh my gosh, coffee breath equals gross equals they're not gonna want to kiss me,"
exactly.
and so it's every
And that's
relationship is
things
different.
like, I mean, we've talked about, but like in my current relationship, I battle a lot of those things that the ex would say to me, like if my legs aren't shaved, if like my hairstyle isn't, if my makeup's not, like those little comments are taken with you when you enter another relationship where you're like,
Oh,
yeah.
you're traumatized.
yeah, you're like, oh my god,
Like, Lexi, why aren't you wearing lipstick?
oh my
Like,
god, like
you're
why
not
are you
being-
wearing that?
you're
Why are
not
you
being
wearing sweat? Why do
ladylike.
you why are you
Yeah.
wearing that like
why don't you
everything.
have your hair pinned up? You know?
Exactly.
Why don't I look like a 50s cute? I'm like,
Pin up a girl.
yeah.
He was just stuck in freaking 1950s.
I don't know what he was. Yeah.
Yeah.
but-
Okay, I'm gonna run
okay,
through
what's your
some-
deal
'cause
breaker?
We're
No, what
oh,
are you-
I don't have another one. I don't
Oh,
know.
okay.
I have
Oh,
another one.
You have another?
Okay,
Of course.
take mine. We're already at 25 minutes. So
Okay.
the time is flying.
You guys,
by.
deal breakers are important.
They are very important.
A deal breaker is telling me that your last relationship ended because you cheated.
Okay, cheating.
Bye.
Oh, cheating is easily
Obviously.
Yeah.
Cheating. Well, I think we have a strong consensus on cheating.
Yeah.
I
Bye, dirtbag.
Mhm.
I did read a book called like how to like I guess how to go through affairs if it's happened to you and just try to like expand my just like understanding of what happens when someone goes through an affair or like cheating and like how it affects both parties. And so I have understanding like if you're in a relationship where that happened to you and you're processing and you're moving through it, like I do think there's a way to go through it.
Yeah.
But I think understandably it's a deal breaker for a lot of people, including us
Yeah,
three.
especially if you've been cheated on, and
It is the
Yep.
worst.
that is always a question that
feeling.
I ask someone is, have you ever cheated? And I remember one of my exes, I had asked him on like our second date, have you ever cheated? And he was like, and he kind of laughed. This was why, by the way. And he was
of
like, well,
course.
I mean, like sort of, it was so long ago, and it was
So
we
long
were-
ago. What does
we
that
were
mean?
young, like as in probably 20s something, and it's just it wasn't really like, yeah, I mean I have technically, but like not really. And I remember being like, okay, well, like I justified it, and I was like, I guess that makes sense. And then the end of the relationship, he had told me that he thought we should well, he wanted an open relationship. I feel like I've talked about this because he was having thoughts of wanting to cheat on me. And so I'm not saying no one can change.
Man to really
So
say to
brave.
stop myself from cheating on you.
Yeah,
I think it's best we have an open relationship. Oh,
that solves everything.
thank you for being
my
so
But
honest.
I'm
with
not
me.
saying that people can't change, but there is that saying, once a cheater, always a cheater. And I just think that it should definitely raise a flag for you.
It should raise a flag. I don't think it necessarily needs to define you. I think how you processed it and how you've shown that you've grown from it. I think his answer really demonstrated how he hasn't grown from it.
Yeah.
If you were willing to own up to your mistake, how it affected your partner, how it affected you in that relationship, and you realize like the like you've done the mental work to understand what happened there and that you can assure me that it's not going to happen again, I think that's great. Like, okay, we're going to move through that. But if you're just like, technically, but no, it didn't really count, it was not a serious whatever your excuse is, then it doesn't seem like you've done the work to really ensure
Yeah.
that it's not going to happen again,
Yeah.
and that you're going to justify if it happens in this
Again.
relationship or in
No.
another time. So I think that's a great one to just flag, and I'm sure it's in the
Yeah.
like in the
Let's hear
deal
the
breakers.
list.
Oh, well, I mean, the list, honestly, we've already hit on a lot of them. And that is financial habits and job stability. Well, something that we didn't touch on, but that's a whole other conversation, is political and religious differences. That could be a big like if you're not willing to convert
I feel like we
for
read the
specific
same
religions.
list. Are you on a woman?
Oh, I don't know.
Oh.
I put this in a separate document
Oh, okay.
a long time ago when I made this. And communication and effort in a relationship. I also think cheating is a big one. Difference in communication feels kind of like that physical
think
touch.
Well, we could talk about deal breakers forever. I think.
We could.
Like, we've talked about interactions with their parents. I think interactions with how they treat their friends
And service people.
Yep, and
Oh,
service
yeah.
friends, and also how they treat your friends.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I have a quick story. I had just recently saw a childhood best friend, and my ex had treated her horribly.
Oh.
And I know, and you know, when you're in this bad relationship, you justify it, you try to like, you know, rationalize it and gain out of that relationship. I apologized for like how I didn't stand by her and was like allowed him to say such negative things. And so when she came to visit me, I think this was almost 2 years ago. She came to visit me when I was in my new relationship. And I remember we went to Topgolf, and like my boyfriend is heckling her and she's not taking it well. I mean, I could see her emotionally getting really frustrated. And she turned to me and was like, he's just like this person. And like one of her exes, which was not a good guy. And in that moment, I was like, no one is going to treat my friend like this again.
Yeah.
And so I turned to my boyfriend and was like, if you say another mean thing to her or judge, like I was like, shut it down. And he was so quiet the rest of the night. And I just was like, I'm never going to allow.
I'm proud of you for speaking up.
Yeah. But when I recently saw her, she's like, we talked about this. And I was like, again, I'm so sorry for my ex. But like, also, you know, that golf moment, she's like, yeah, when you did that, I realized like, it wasn't you just folding in a relationship. I realized it was the man that you were with, because when you stood up for me in the second relationship, I realized, okay, that moment before was a dark time, and this time, like, I just was so happy that you did that. I was like, no, because
I feel like in the second time it showed that you and your partner were equals, where the first time it was like his way or the highway.
Yeah,
and
it's
there's like a power dynamic.
when you're in a bad relationship, you're like, if I say something, I know this is going to be a 4-hour
conversation,
argument. I'm going to be dragged through the mud. It's going to be so much. And so it's better to just be quiet and be like, oh, I'm sorry. Like, which is terrible. You're in a bad relationship then. Yeah. But like in this
now
one,
you've learned from
I was like, it's either
you're like, I'm not shutting my mouth.
I'm not shutting my mouth. I'm going to speak up every time I feel something, or that my friend feels something, because they are important to me. And so
good, and you should be able to.
If a partner, how they interact with your friends, I think should be really telling, and you should trust that. You know, we've all made mistakes, and if you're like, oh, they just don't like each other. There's a difference between they just don't get along and my friend is saying that's a bad person. Yeah. Don't go with them. Don't trust the person you barely know. Trust your friend.
Yeah, because your friend can oftentimes see things that you can't necessarily see. And if he's being a trash person,
take him out.
Dump him. Take him out with the trash.
Yeah. Last stat I wanted to quickly throw in here is studies show that people are less likely to compromise on deal breakers as they age. So
that's so true.
That makes sense, because you're like, come on, clock is ticking. But I feel like we could have just gone on for even longer, but we are honestly over time.
Don't worry, this will come back again.
Deal breakers will be back.
We're gonna do,
but hopefully this helps people like reevaluate maybe not only relationships but friendships, and understand that they shouldn't have to compromise on certain things that are deal breakers, that are non-negotiables.
Evaluate what's red flags and what are the deal breakers.
Yeah. Set those deal breakers.
Be respectful to your friends and family.
And to yourself. Respect yourself. Thanks, guys, so much for watching. Signing off, it's Cosette,
Lexi,
and Rachel.
Bye.